I just realized we're all Marks.
Yeah,
All three of us.
that's
That's kind
true.
of funny.
That is true. Well, we're the cool ones,
Hmm.
no matter what anyone says.
This is an exclusive club we got going
that's,
here.
that's right. When Joe shows up, we're just gonna kick him out.
Yeah, you don't belong.
Sorry, you're not one
Wrong
of the
name.
cool kids anymore. Oh, we are excited to talk with you, and yeah, I got some things even you guys don't know, you and Joe, Dread. So
Oh boy,
I was
even
tell
more
I was
secrets.
I
He's
was
been
keeping
revealing all these goodies you've sent us.
yeah
Fantastic stuff, man.
yeah I was keeping it secret because I told Mark I would just not even let you guys know about that. So
He has kept the secrets.
master of the secrets. That's right. But I did show him the very, very cool card.
Oh, cool.
We did an unveiling, an opening on our
Right.
last time we did the episode, and I played it for him. I held it up to the microphone like, oh my god, it's talking. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's making noise.
Yeah, it was so very cool.
Yeah, who came up with all these ideas to all these companion pieces to the album? This is some
Well,
really cool
all of
stuff.
us we started a band chat, and it got so active. Before we finished the album, I think there were 6,000 messages in there.
Wow.
And yeah, we were just talking, what can we do to give this album a little more notice than our records typically get.
Awesome.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
That's the comic is beautiful. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's so very cool. We're gonna ask you this again when we're formally in the show as well.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe we should
yeah,
start officially.
save. Well, then I guess it's time. We should just get going then.
Let's
Yeah, I
fire
know.
away.
Yeah, I know. Mark's excited to hang out with us all night. I know. Hey, let's give him a good show, right? All right. Well, let's get it going.
Hey man, this is Trevor William Church of Haunt and Beastmaker, and you're watching Heavy Metal Horror. Thank you.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
And this is Dreadbull, two-man show once again, holding it down.
That's right. And you are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Oh, kitties. We've got another triumphant return. Mark Briody from Jag Panzer is back. Yes, Mark, welcome back to Heavy Metal Horror.
Oh, thanks for having me. I had a great time last time. So right when we scheduled this, I've been looking forward to this. Been looking at this on my calendar every day, and it's always a good time.
Nice.
Do you know how like mind-blowing that is to hear you say that? Like for us, I mean, again, we never ever expected to be talking to people like you, people we admire, people we are fans of their music. We just never ever thought we'd do that, let alone have you engage and like what we do. It's just so mind-blowing. So thank you again.
Yeah, we so appreciate the positive feedback, and it's been awesome. Yeah, like you said,
Mhm.
it's kind of mind blowing. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And the camaraderie. I mean, Dreadbull last week, Mark and I were texting back and forth, and he sent me a new song to listen to with a link. He says,
Fantastic.
"Yeah, see, I didn't
That's
share it,
cool,
Mark. I
man.
told him
No, you did not.
He said not to share it. I'm like, nope, I'm keeping it. I said, I'll let the guys know in the show, and yeah, I did show him the digital comic because I knew the comic was on its way, and I took pictures of the lovely the comic book with the awesome Mark Briody pick. There we go.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
nice.
Cool.
Yes, and bagged and boarded and sealed. This is awesome. A very cool comic. I was really shocked. I expected to have like a ton of like ads in there. We're like one of like 3 ads in here, man. Completely blown away by that. And then so thank you. I mean, you asked me, like, would you guys like to have an ad in the in the comic book, like no charge?
Yeah.
I'm like, Yes. Holy crap. I'm like, I told the guys like, hey, Mark wants us to like have an ad in the comic book. Holy crap.
Well, I didn't know until you showed me the digital, and I was just, you're like, yeah, check out and look at the artwork, and I was just
Mhm.
thumbing through the digital comic, and then yeah, I got to the heavy metal horror page. I'm like, what the hell is this? What's this? There's a big logo there. Like, this looks familiar.
Yeah.
It did not even
Right.
sink in. Like, wow,
Hmm.
that's yeah, just
Yeah.
awesome.
So completely blown away. Definitely blown away. And then to start things off, we got this, awesome postcard you had sent a
Oh,
while
cool.
back ago, and which was cool. And then the even more amazing card, the digital card in the lovely Jag Panzer black
Beautiful.
envelope. It is gorgeous. Yes, with fantastic artwork. And then you open it up. Whoa, behold the story. And then you have the audio. Welcome to the Hollow. Yes. So
Great.
very cool. So Mark, this album, we've been hearing about it for a long time. You have so many cool giveaways. Now, these I know were very limited edition. The same thing with the comic book, the same
Yeah,
thing with these other postcards. So can you talk a little bit about the promotional aspect? I mean, we're going to get into the album, but how did you come up with all this great ideas about promoting your book and then sending these kinds of awesome things to schlubs like us?
well, what I wanted to do, and I got the blessing from my bandmates, which was nice. I wanted to give people sort of the experience that I had in 1982, becoming a new wave of British heavy metal fan. No internet back then, so every news and everything I got, it was either from a fanzine or it was from what I got in the mail. And I remember getting like somebody sent me the Angel Witch cover Xeroxed in a letter, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I think the album was already out then, but I hadn't seen it. I mean, there was no place in Colorado Springs to buy that kind of music. There was a shop in Denver, but they were pretty limited early on with metal releases. So all the news I got was everything I got in the mail, and it was really cool. I mean, I tell younger people today, and they say, "Oh, well, that's terrible. You couldn't just sign on and get news." No, it's actually really cool going out to your mailbox and go, "Oh, cool! It's a letter from London," and open it up, and here's the latest from Witchfind, and here's this cover, and here's what's going on gigs in the UK, and it was great. And then certain albums you would hear about, the hype would build. Like like everybody, I had Metallica's No Life to Leather demo, and there was just really this buzz waiting for Kill 'Em All to hit, and it was cool. And that was stuff that happened all the time. So I thought, with this record, is there anything we can do to sort of try to bring that feeling back in a digital age? So we thought direct mails. So what's better to do than to unveil the album cover? Don't unveil it online, unveil it with postcards. And then we thought, what can we do that would be really special? We can do just like 50 or 60 of, and then that was the audio cards. And the comic wasn't even on the radar, but we did this album a little differently. Typically, we do demos for the songs and then we go and record. So we did that again, but we decided, hey, we had a band meeting and said, you guys want to record the album for real in our home studios? And they said, well, what do you mean for real? I said, no, we're still going to go to Morrisound later to mix, but let's do it once through for real, everybody. So we did the whole album, everything for real as a practice run, and it went really good. And we all started talking about the story. Everybody was asking, well, what do you think happens in this song? And well, we knew what happens lyrically, but everybody was asking for more. What do you think those monsters look like? What do you think this is about? So after about a week of that, I told the guys, what if we did a comic book? And they told me to run with it. They said, look, if you can make it happen, Mark, that's good. So I started scripting out a story for the comic book, sending it to my bandmates, started looking for an artist, which took several weeks. So once I finally had all that under control, checked prices, availability for printing, and everything seemed to go. So I ran with the ball and did the comic book.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah. And you're right. Like back, I think back to the 80s, like you said, fanzines, like you'd sometimes you'd find out about a new band just by going to the record store and thumbing your way through the albums, and maybe a cover will catch your eye or something. And yeah, back then it was like those things were so much more precious to you. If you got a
Yeah.
fanzine with an article, about a band you really loved, man, you'd read that thing 3, 4 times, and like there were some cool pictures in there and stuff, and it was so much more rare. So you really held on to those things, that it meant a lot more back then.
Because you felt like you were part of the community. If you're
Yeah.
involved in a fanzine,
Exactly.
you are part of the people who are supporting it and who love it. It's kind of like feels like an underground movement, like it's pure in a way,
Mhm.
And so no, I totally love that. But in case we didn't mention the album title, we got the Hallowed, and it is a concept album.
Yes.
So because I know it's coming out, but can you give a brief idea or an overview of this post-apocalyptic concept album?
Yeah, it's set in a post-apocalyptic frozen world, and it's a small group of people. They're not the only people in this area, but they're group banded together. They've trained animals to help them to survive, and they're looking for a warm place called the Hallowed, which is, that's not syntactically correct, but there's several things in the story where the language is a little bit different. So we just wanted to give the sense it's a different kind of place. So yeah, they're adventures looking for this place of warmth along with the animals. On the album, the lyrics are told from the viewpoint of the animals, all of them. In the comic book is told from the viewpoint of the humans. So when hearing the album, you can follow along with the comic, and I've done it, everybody in the band's done it, and it is actually really cool because you you experience the same events, but it's a completely different point of view, especially in the beginning of the story. The animals are very much about unity, and we're all together, and the people not so much.
Well, the one song
Sounds
the
about
first
right.
one you shared with me was from the bird's point of view.
Yes.
And when I listened to it, knowing that I could hear in the music and in the guitar solos and the way the music is structured, it sounded like birds like diving. Like it could almost feel that sense of
Yeah.
aerials and aeronautics and diving down, swooping down. So, you know, I I think it was fantastic and kind of majestic how you incorporated the knowing what the song was more than just having a lick and a big anthemic thing, which the second song you sent me was very anthemic. I could hear that definitely being a part of your set list. But to have the sound of the animals and feel that movement in the music, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, we approached it like we were scoring music for the story, which we did Thane of the Throne the same way, our previous concept record. So and we were happy with Thane of the Throne. People seemed to like it, so we thought if we can do a scoring to a story similar approach, and we wanted things like to get a feel of the birds coming down without using sound effects of birds. We wanted to see, can we do this with electric guitar? So that was definitely our aim.
Nice. So where did the idea come from? I mean, when you first began thinking about creating a new record, how does it evolve from just talking about, hey, what do you want to do, to a concept album?
Yeah, we knew initially we wanted to do a concept album because it's a different way of writing songs for us. So it gives us, the music sounds different. Still sounds like Jag Panzer, but it is a different approach. So we knew it was going to be a concept album. So we were trying to think what should we do, and it was our drummer that first suggested sort of an adventure. He said, "Can we do an adventure story like a classic, like Jason and the Argonauts, or something like a cool adventure story, maybe in a post-apocalyptic frozen world?" It's not completely original post-apocalyptic frozen, but it's certainly less common than the Mad Max post-apocalyptic desert. We thought, okay.
Right.
So then Harry just took the ball and ran with it. So Harry really fleshed out a complete story, enough for me to start writing songs to it. And then everybody started filling in details as a group.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I'm a
Oh,
sucker for all things post-apocalyptic, so I love that kind of setting. I'll watch anything or listen to anything that has that setting. So I'm
And
really excited about it.
if you read the comic, the song titles, every song title is incorporated in the comic, and they're all in a
Okay.
specific position, so you can really nail down each song to a panel on the comic.
I
Oh,
think that's got to be
fantastic.
a when we do an album review, we got to do a read along.
Yeah,
You
yeah, that's
know,
kind of what I want to do the first time I listen to this whole album. I want to sit down with the comic and kind of just, put the headphones on and just take it all in at one time all together.
hmm
But it's really worked out well for us. We're really really happy the way the record came out, and we're currently unsigned. So we started shopping this for a new record deal, and we've gotten more contract offers than we ever have in our career.
Well, that's
In
what I
fact,
was going to
Oh,
ask
cool.
next is, we had talked about that. You had received some offers. So are you able to tell us, this episode will be coming out in 3 weeks. Are you able to tell us who you signed with?
yeah, I was hoping I could. I can't quite yet.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
I had made a wish list of the 3 record labels I was interested in, and we have offers from all 3.
Oh, that's
Wow, that's
awesome.
fantastic. Yeah. I mean, is that pretty rare in the music industry to have so many labels like come at you with an offers, especially the ones you really want? Is it, I mean, how rare is this?
I'm told it is. I don't know. Honestly, bands tend not to share that with one another, so I don't really know how rare it is. I know some of the people we have working with us to make these deals happen. They're very happy with the response. So I think it's rare. I don't want to commit to that statement.
Sure. Okay. Oh, that's fine. I'm just excited for you. I mean, we feel like we've been a part of this journey with you because you've included us in the story. As limited as the information, as much as I could give and what I held back, but we just feel like we're on this journey with you, and we're just really happy that the album has come together and that you got new interest from different labels. So we're just excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, again, that goes back to the early 80s because I really felt like with certain bands that I was going along with the journey just from getting information about bands and getting information. I remember really liking Early Warlord when I heard it. I couldn't believe it. It's just great. And I used to call Brian Slagle on the phone. He used to work at Oz Records, and he would just give me information about when the EP's coming out, Deliver Us, and it felt like I was part of the journey. So yeah, that's definitely the feeling I'm trying to get here.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly in part of that. So, um, do we have a time frame for when the album is going to be coming out?
Yeah, that would be entirely up to the label. It's completely done on our end,
Okay.
completely. Every artwork, all photography, inner sleeve graphics, mastering. I mean, everything is absolutely ready to go on our end. We have 5 videos. We have
Wow.
our biggest budget video ever was shot on a huge sound stage. That's done. Then we have 4 lyric videos. You've seen 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have 5 videos. They're done.
Nice.
Yeah, everything's ready to go.
And I love the photography.
Yeah.
When you put some of the photos out on social media, then I felt like I could share some of the things that you had sent to me. So Dreadbull was over one day at the house, and I said, "Oh yeah, these are on Facebook, but here I can show you what Mark sent me. Like 3 weeks prior to that."
Mhm.
And the photography is just gorgeous. These black and white with these huge sets. And I remember telling you, it reminded me of some very Art Deco, something like you might see out of Metropolis. So
Oh yeah,
was this part of the vision, or whose idea was it to kind of construct these larger than life, kind of almost quasi mechanical, dystopian, kind of images?
well, we hired 3 different photographers, and we wanted 3 completely different looks. And the first photographer was a friend of mine, Ryan. He used to win Photographer of the Year award all the time here in Colorado Springs, and he's just a great photographer. So I went out and just took some snapshots myself of the giant steel O and the big steel bird. And I said, look, we want to get these in a picture, and we want them looking old school dystopian, Metropolis or 70s films like Clockwork Orange with a lot of concrete and steel. I said, we want that kind of look, want some smoke. And he said, yeah, I got it. So he took us out. His sessions were a couple days. Yeah, and they came out phenomenal. I mean, he's an absolutely amazing photographer. Then we had another photographer. I went and talked to the people at the World War II Airplane Museum here in town. and about doing a shoot there, and they were very cool. So we had another full day session there, and then we had a full day session on the in the gear storage part of the soundstage. We did the video, so we have all these anvil cases around, and it's very looks like a band on tour. And then the final photo session, there's a painting I've been fascinated my whole life called Las Meninas. It's a painting in Spain, and there's documentaries on it about it's the most interesting painting ever. I mean, you can watch whole documentaries, and I made the band watch it. They were a little lukewarm at first, and I watched them, and they said, "Oh my God, this is fascinating. This is crazy. This painting is." And I said, "You know how many bands have taken a picture like that?" And everybody guessed, "Oh, 100, maybe more." I said, "I can't find any." So we actually had my buddy Dan, excellent portrait photographer. He did the photos for the last album. He posed us for that shot. So we are posed like this classic painting. And I haven't shown anybody those pictures yet.
No, I remember on Facebook, because you said a classic painting, but you wouldn't say what it was. And Dreadbull, I submitted a classic painting that I was taking a guess, and it was dogs playing poker. But I thought, oh, maybe here's a shot.
Nice try.
Right.
Yes. Since I mentioned that on Facebook, in the time frame since, I've posted the documentaries about Las Meninas a few times, just dropping some breadcrumbs.
Oh,
A few people did put it together. I got some instant messages. Hey, you were talking about some painting you guys were posed as, and now you're posting these documentaries about is it that? And I said, yeah. Nice. I don't know when I'm going to unleash those. I actually had those made into a postcard as well. Those are really, really cool pictures.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. I loved the pictures. I loved the stark black and white. Those images I thought were just amazing, and they certainly give a look and a feel. And that's I think part of the when like you get a new album. When Dreadbull and I would always get like the new Iron Maiden album, we would be anticipating to what to see the band was going to look like, and the interior and the sleeve, and then especially on albums like Somewhere in Time, where you can look and like spend an hour like looking at all the details and finding all the little like references to songs and things. That was like we would just listen to the album just to look at the cover,
Yeah.
And
that was all part of the ritual, man. Yeah, just look at the cover art and stare at that while you listen to the brand new album. That was. I missed that, so I'm glad you're putting this effort into kind of bringing back some of those that cool nostalgia that used to come with listening to a new album.
Yeah.
And I know there are people that won't be into it and just want to hear the songs individually on their iPad, and that's fine. I mean, so we produce this record, so anybody can listen to it however they want. But if you're old school like me, or if you want to feel like it did in the old school days, put on some headphones or put on and have a bunch of people over and get a pizza and everybody read the comic and listen to music at the same time.
I think we have to do that, Dreadbull. We got to do a listening party.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
No, that'd be great. Mark, Jag Panzer is a band that I has been around for a long time. It has such a unique and heavy American style metal, and sometimes I think the band just gets heavier and heavier and more complex as it goes. Is that something that has been intentional, or is it something that's happening like organically within the band as you progress through your career?
It's completely organic. It sounded odd. It's completely organic. It's nothing we plan out, especially on this record, because everything was done to suit the story. I mean, there's a few parts on this album that are ridiculously complicated, but it's done because that part of the story is very chaotic. So, we don't ever, or at least I, as a songwriter, don't ever say, I need to make this complicated, or I need to make this. I just don't do it. I like to write for feeling, and that comes double true for this record.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a question. I don't think I asked the last time you were on, but this is pretty appropriate for what we're talking about. You got this new album coming out. I've thought about this before with bands. You put all this effort, like you've put all this effort into making this music and all these materials to go with it and stuff. And kind of you put that stuff out to the public, and inevitably you're going to get all spectrum, the whole spectrum of feedback.
Yeah.
And I think about today, like the pervasive negativity that seems to have come with social media and things like that. Like, is that something that you still struggle with, negativity and dealing with those things? Is that something you've worked through throughout your career, now that you've been at it for so long? How, or does it still affect you?
Well, people not liking something, that's no big deal. You get used to that. It's a little jarring on your first record, but you
Yeah,
quickly
right.
do it. My pet peeve, and I do have this happen every record, is when people make a factual statement that's completely wrong. I had somebody a few albums back said, well, I really like this song, except the vocal line is not in key. And I said, that is absolutely not true. It is in key. And he pushed me back. Yeah, no, I know my music theory. And I said, okay, here's the notes. Here's the mode. Tell me what's wrong with it. Oh, I'm just hearing it differently. And I said, hey, if you don't like it, that's cool. That's fine. I mean,
Mhm.
just say you don't like it, but come on, let's not go down that path of it's musically out of key. It wasn't.
Let's argue with the person who wrote the song, right? Yeah, exactly.
And it's been writing music for
yeah, exactly.
decades.
He kind of knows what he wrote.
But we do have one song on the record. I can't wait to hear the response from it, because when you hear it, it's a pretty cool driving metal song. So I think when you just hear it, it's like, hey, this is a cool song. But when we were recording it, every single engineer, every one of them, turned around in their desk and said, what's going on here? And Jim Morris said, who's just a musical genius, turned around and said, okay, you're going to have to explain this one.
Okay.
It's got some
nothing like whetting the appetite.
very bizarre things in it that the average listener is not going to hear. It just feels like it's driving. But if you start tapping your foot to it, it's going to go awry very quickly, and there is no tempo change. And that's the first thing that people guess. Hey, are you doing real subtle tempo changes here? I said, no, there's no tempo change. And then I'd get the turning around and, okay, explain what's going on here. And then I would say, well, I'm occasionally dropping an eighth note by putting in a bar of 7/8 to completely change the downbeat. But you can't hear it as a listener, really. I think a lot of people, and it's a very cool song. It's my favorite one. So I think a lot of people are just going to say that's a really cool driving metal song. But it does have the feel starts slowly changing in it.
That's cool. I love little subtle things like that you might listen to the song, a dozen times, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, what? I never noticed that little detail before. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And people working on the record noticed it, because they're setting up delays and setting up markers, and then all of a sudden they're all off. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here? We have another part in a song where I put a really cool sort of high muted guitar part, a counter melody to Harry's vocals. And I take it completely off time on purpose. And that's another one where people turned around and said, okay, Mark, why are you doing this? But then after a few listens, I'd see a smile on people's face. Oh, I know why you're doing it now. It really draws attention to Harry's vocals.
Cool.
So that's there's a lot of real subtle things like this on this record.
Is it safe to say this is a very progressive Jag Panzer record? That sounds like progressive elements there.
I would call it very progressive, but progressive seems to be a genre tag, and it's certainly
that's true.
not that. It does not sound like Dream Theater or Queensryche, and those are great bands. But as far as progressive meaning to take the music in a different direction, yeah, there's certainly some very unique things on there. But I think most people that have heard the record call it classic metal. In fact, most people are saying this is the most classic metal sounding record since Ample Destruction.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I would even consider like maybe Iron Maiden's most recent album, kind of a progressive Maiden album. So yeah, I don't necessarily.
They've been kind of progressing for the last couple albums. They've been kind of heading in that direction for sure. But it's still hard rock. It's still metal, But there's a lot of prog in that.
Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily use that label to box something in, but just as a, to kind of as a label to kind of like describe some of those elements, those little
Mhm.
surprises and details that you put in there, and those kind of odd
Yeah.
time signatures and stuff.
That
So that's
makes it
really cool.
exciting. You know, that's
I love that stuff, man.
as someone who's been a musician since I was 10, I love hearing that stuff because when I catch it, like, oh, that just makes
Mhm.
the song, the listening more rich to me to hear
Yeah.
those things. You know, it's like, oh, okay. There's a depth to that that I really appreciate.
And there's a lot of things we do that people never pick up on, which I kind of think that's cool. There's a part on Thane to the Throne, and it's in Fate's Triumph, where I am maintaining a pulse dun, 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 on my guitar, and our drummer Rickard is changing time signatures every 4 bars, and no one has ever
Oh,
picked up on that. I've seen musicians in the audience when we're playing sort of count it out and puzzled look on his face, and but yeah, it was cool. He I think he whips through 4 different time signatures in about 30 seconds. All
okay.
well,
Holy cow.
So it all
yeah,
meets back mathematically. It all
yeah.
adds up.
He's got that mathematically
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when you hear Rush, like in Jacob's Ladder. You know, when that music part comes in, it's like they're all three of them are playing different time signatures. You know, and Neil Peart's like playing this really off. Like I have a struggle with that one. I'm like, oh, when I would always play it, but mathematically, it all works out. And where they come
Mhm.
back in and like concert, like oh, symphonically, boom, they all hit that number. Like okay, now I see what you were doing. It's
And
brilliant.
it was really cool working with our bass player because he's got his own way of doing melody on the bass, and I just love it. It's brilliant. But he came into the recording sessions with like multiple rhythmic ideas for each song, and he would tell me, "Hey, I'm thinking of this line, but I think Geddy Lee, like on 2112, probably would have done a fill like this, or maybe we can go a King Crimson type." And he would have all these different ideas on the bass just for little fills and little accents. It was awesome.
That has to be supremely satisfying as a musician with as long and storied career as you've had to still be able to come together and create such dynamic and thriving music. I mean, that's got to just make you like just so crazy happy at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, it's cool because we've all known each other forever in the band, and we have very different opinions on sports and sports teams and food and women. And we argue like cats and dogs over everything, but when it comes to music, it's like, damn, everybody's on the exact same page. I mean,
Nice.
it's very cool.
Nice,
Oh,
nice.
that's right. You were the guy that always trolled Baker Mayfield fans, right?
Oh yeah, I keep
Yeah,
doing it.
I remember that now. uh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Well, yeah, that's working out. So
Yeah, every time there's a post on the Guardians, I post uh WOFB, win one for Baker.
uh,
Nice, nice. So, um, Mark, of all the songs that you've written, which one do you have the most emotional connection to?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be, something early because it was such a struggle early on. Probably the Crucifix, because that was I was really proud of that song. I actually wrote half of it on an Apple II
Oh,
computer,
nice.
um, because I was hired to write a local computer company hired me to do some Alan Parsons project music on an Apple II. So they let me borrow an Apple II with their ALF synthesizer card. So I had that for a week. I had finished the Alan Parsons song, and I had some time, and I just wanted to approach songwriting just a little differently. I had the music in my head for the harmonies on the Crucifix, and so I just put them on the computer, and on the computer I could work out the melody line and the harmony and the rhythm section, something that I would just previously just have to imagine because I didn't have any form of a multi-track recorder. So I took advantage of that and then worked on the Crucifix, played it for the guys. And we were really happy with it. We were going to put it on our first EP, but I didn't have an acoustic guitar. We were very poor, so we used to borrow a lot of our equipment from the music store, and they were great about that. But they actually sold the acoustic guitar that they were going to loan me, so the song had to wait till Ample Destruction, and then I borrowed another acoustic guitar. And so yeah, it was great seeing a song that I worked on that much finally make it to a record.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So I
that's
noticed, like, your music has evolved over the years, yet maintains this like recognizably unique core sound, Can you talk or tell us a little bit about your own personal evolution as a musician or and songwriter?
Yeah, I think my main goal, I've always considered myself a heavy metal fan, far and above before a musician. I mean, I always been a metal fan. I still am. Listen to it every day. Listen to a lot of different bands. So I set my goal early on to I wanted to become a good enough musician, and I wanted the band to be good enough where I could just play the music I heard in my head as a fan. So I don't approach a song as, this is a musician. I want to write the song like that. I approach it as a fan, and this is what I would like to hear. So yeah, we didn't hit that till about our third or fourth album, where I thought we were getting close to what I'm hearing it in my head. And yeah, now with the Hallowed, it's beyond what I hear in my head, which is really cool. I mean, and it's beyond it with everybody else's performance. I mean, I can imagine some really cool drum parts. So when I hear something even cooler, that's a big thrill. And I can, I've known Harry since we were 6, so I know what he can do vocally, which is a ton. And so I imagine some pretty great vocal parts. And so for him to surpass them was really cool.
Nice.
And we did the recording a little different for this record. We paired people up with I call it a mentor. Maybe there's a better word. For drums, we chose Ken Mary. Ken's the drummer for Fifth Angel, for Flotsam and Jetsam, and he's a great engineer, and he's got the best sounding drum room in Arizona. It's a fantastic sounding drum room, and it's a big drum room, enough for our drummer to fit his giant old school 1982 huge Yamaha kit in there. First time he's used it in 20 years. He's got a bunch of drum, and that one is huge. So we paired him up with Ken Mary. We recorded bass live with drums. We'd never done that, so that went really well. We paired up lead guitar, Ken, with a guy, Casey Weaver, also in Arizona, who is known for his lead guitar work. He's got a whole bunch of great vintage and modern guitar amplifiers, and that's really his specialty, even though he's a great all-around engineer as well. But we really felt he could specialize in lead guitar. And it was Harry and I on vocals again. I recorded Harry like I always have. So, and then we took it all down to Morrisound to mix.
Wow. So the drum kit hasn't been used in 40 years.
Yeah, he's got about
That's
5
amazing.
kits. So,
Okay.
yeah, this is his early 80s kit when he was a kid, and Clyde Burr was his favorite drummer. So it's a big Yamaha that's just been sitting there. I mean, well maintained, but it sounded phenomenal. Yeah, the drum sounds just stunning on this record. And it's just drum sound. He plays loud. It's a loud drum set. The room sounds phenomenal. Yeah,
See,
you
I'll
can
be
tell.
happy with that. Dreadbulls, he always gives me grief because as a drummer, I listen to drums. I listen to how records are mixed. And the drums are usually the first thing I'm listening to. Like, how are the drums going to sound in the mix? Too
Mostly
often
the snare.
yeah, too often they get buried. They get pushed away. Like in country music, you bury them. That's big. The drums aren't loud in country music, but in rock and in metal, you want those drums to be up, equal with everything else.
Yeah, and to get an idea how well everything went, Rickard was bringing his drum kit in at 6 o'clock the night before the recording, and he called me at 6:15 and said, "Okay, I got the drums set up." And he called me at 6:25. "Okay, we got the sounds. 10 minutes to get the drums out."
Wow.
Incredible.
Wow.
And yeah, the same with everything. Mixing the album at Morrisound, usually it takes about 4 hours to get the bass tones dialed in. No, Jim had the bass tones dialing in just under an hour. And he said, "Wow, this is just wonderfully recorded, everything." So it was it just went so smooth.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is this one of the smoothest processes you've ever had for an album? Sounds like everything
Yeah,
has just gone perfectly.
yeah, it's not even close. I mean, this is
Wow.
on a whole other level for smoothness. Everybody in the band took a lot of time to make sure they were prepared, well rehearsed, and that their equipment and they were comfortable in the recording environment. We really wanted a performance. I always get a good performance out of everybody in the band. They're pros, so that's never a concern. But I wanted a very comfortable, organic performance from everybody. I didn't want anybody to finish a track and say that's good enough. I wanted everybody to be 100% behind every one of their performances, and they were, which was really nice.
Awesome. Do you guys tend to have the same formula every time you get together to record? Is it always, do you always get together for, like, do you guys write and record all in one big batch, or is it you do all the writing and then get together and, like, that's how it usually goes? I know some bands try to do everything in one session, or, like, take a 2 or 3 weeks or whatever to write and record an album. How do you guys usually do it?
Well, we usually do it where I start with the demo and then everybody starts fine tuning it. So we did it that way as well. I started with the demo and then everybody fine tuned it. And then we did everything for real for the demo run. So we did everything for real. I even mixed it for real. I spent a week mixing it. And then we listened to it and talked about it for another 2 months. And then we made some fine tuning. And then we went in over a 3-week period and then did it for real.
Okay, so 3 weeks of hardcore recording at that point.
Oh yeah, every day,
That's cool.
sessions every day. I recorded my own guitar parts and I went for I think 29 hours straight.
Oof,
Oh, wow.
wow. So,
Yeah, I
is
just
there?
got on a roll.
Yeah. Is there any footage of this recording? I mean, as a fan, I'd love to see
Hmm.
bands in the studio. I love to see their process and mixing and how an album comes together. Is there any footage of this that some of us hungry
A little
fans might be able to see?
documentary,
Yeah.
little behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, I think I'm actually going to do a documentary
Oh, excellent.
because I did interview everybody in the band, and yeah, there's a lot of things that we were talking about for the documentary, like for lead guitar, our longtime touring guitarist Ken wanted the gig, and Ken's a great guy and does great with us on the road and plays all the leads note for note. And in the documentary and to my bandmates, I said, I don't know if I was familiar with his other projects, and his lead guitar playing is great, but the music was so different from what we had, and I had some concerns as to whether he would fit, with his melodies and lead. And he just said, give me a shot. Oh my God, I gave him a shot and I was so wrong. He fit like a charm. I mean, he sounded phenomenal. So that's some things we talk about in the documentary.
Oh,
Nice.
I love that stuff. It just
Hmm.
gives me even a deeper appreciation of the music when it comes out. You can get some little insights, into the making of a song and kind of the thought process behind it and different things that you tried. I love that stuff. It just makes me appreciate the music all that much more.
Yeah, and after Ken recorded 2 songs, most of the band is like, "Oh my God, he's got the gig. He sounds phenomenal." But we had one guy in the band says, "No, I want to hear every song. I want to hear him play on all 10." So I'm the one that had to call Ken, and I said, "Look, we love what you're doing. We love what you're doing, but," and I wasn't going to pin it on one guy to Ken. I just said, "We love what you're doing, but we're going to have to hear everything." And he said, "Okay, I'm ready to go with everything." So he was a trooper and went through the whole album demo process, not having the official gig yet, which was great. I mean, that just
Wow.
took guts to do that. And he just delivered some phenomenal guitar parts. So then the guy who wanted to hear all 10 said, "Okay, give him the gig." He said, "I'll call him and tell him." I said, "No, I'm calling it. I'm the one that had to tell him he's got to wait."
Well, how did he take the news?
Yeah, he was pretty psyched because he said he loves going out on the road with us.
Oh,
And
that's
you never know with people because he's a professional musician. He's got a bunch of other gigs going on. So I didn't know what he felt about this. I just knew we loved going on the road with him. He's like a brother
Mhm.
to us. Yeah, he was very pleased. I think he screamed on the phone.
Right.
Nice.
Speaking
Well,
of the road, oh, sorry.
yeah, I was going to say
About the
touring.
road?
Yes,
Yeah.
touring. We've been doing our
All
other
day
show
today.
too, Mark, where Mark Dreadbull was going to ask the question I literally had next like 4 times. I'm like, hey, are you looking at my notes? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about touring. What were you going to ask, Dred?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you've given some thought to your when you do get out on tour for this album, to your live show and the presentation, maybe, venues that could support backdrops or visuals and stuff. Have you given some thought to how you want that show to look if you get a proper treatment at a venue?
Yeah, we've never had a big backdrop, so we're gonna go with one of those this time. Boy, I would, I'd like to have the best show possible, but it's honestly has to come down to budget
Mhm.
and what we can do. But yeah, I think we're gonna do a huge backdrop. We've got a Metal Melts the Ice winter tour coming in January, which is a couple weeks in Europe, and I think it takes us to 5 countries, which will be that'll be a fun tour. We've got some great shows lined up in August, but I don't know. The word came out. We can't talk about the shows publicly, Mark. So, yeah, I was the one singled out.
Oh, you? Okay,
But,
they jumping me. I'm like, yeah, I can cut all this out. That's fine.
so there's 2 tours. Yeah, the January tour, which is called Metal Melts the Ice Winter Tour, Europe, and then some more Europe in August.
Okay. Well, I know it's premature, but do you want to have a tour in the States? Will Jag Panzer be touring the States?
Yeah, I would love to. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, we always have a great time in the States.
Because, Cleveland would be a really good place to swing by because there's really great pizza in Cleveland. I know that's your favorite food to eat on the road, and I could like bring you a couple pizzas from our local pizza places, just to, make it a little better of a choice for
Oh,
you.
Cleveland's my favorite place to play in the U.S. I make no
Really?
secret about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. The first time we played Cleveland, I was talking to somebody outside, and we were talking about the differences in Witchfind Records when they switched singers. And I said, man, how cool is that? Then I can have this kind of conversation with somebody. And every time we played Cleveland, we played, the Brave Words. We played a couple times with Iced Earth. I think we played Cleveland with Halloween. It's always been a great gig, and the audiences are great. And I always have great conversations with everybody. Yeah, Cleveland is always my favorite place to play. I have lots of great places to play in the U.S., but Cleveland just has a special place for me.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So yeah, we definitely want to come see you. I mean, we want to come see the band and stop and say hi, and just that would be great. So please keep us in the loop. Like when that time comes, we definitely would like to know about that. So, well, speaking of pizza places, what's some of the best pizza you've had lately?
Oh, there's a place, and it's funny. They have all these, pizza review sites. They're becoming the big thing. And then there's Dave Portnoy's got his pizza review channel, and so that's sort of a big thing now. I disagree with almost all of them. The place I like is probably about a 40-minute drive from my house. It's called Dewdrop Inn. It's a heavy pizza. The thing weighs about 7 pounds. It's a thick pizza. It's the dough is slightly sweet, like sort of a little bit on the path to a cinnamon roll dough. They use the highest quality cheese possible, and they have a great sauce recipe. And a big guy like myself, I can eat at most 2 pieces. So that's worth the 40-minute drive. I mean, that's delicious pizza. There's a few places in Denver that are good. We have a couple. I think we have 3 Detroit style pizzas here in Colorado Springs, and they're all good. Yeah, there's good pizza all around now.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're ever in the Cleveland area, I know Montag and his wife know all the good places to eat in
Yeah, yeah,
northern Ohio. So
yeah.
that's who me and my wife go to every time we're looking for something new.
Yeah,
Give us a recommendation.
we are we like to try new things. Yeah, we enjoy the food stuffs. So getting back to some touring questions, because there's a lot of questions we didn't ask last time, and some are fun. But I'm just really enjoying this conversation. So, what song do you enjoy playing live the most? of all your catalog, when you're putting your set list together, what song are you like totally like, yeah, this is the one I am happiest playing live?
Oh, I like Warfare from Ample Destruction, because I can have fun with the audience. I can play that really well without ever glancing at my guitar. That's funny. Now that I said that, somebody will dig up a video where I'm looking at my guitar. I can play that and have a lot of fun and a communication with the audience. Shadow Thief is always fun because I can do that and have a lot of communication with the audience. I think those two are generally Hostile, big double bass thrasher. That's always fun. Yeah, I really like the songs that I can interact with the audience, and a song I can shout in the microphone is always a big bonus too. And or songs that sometimes we bring guests up on stage with us, like we had King Fowley come up when we played New York City, and those are always fun too. So that's, typically Warfare, someone will come up.
Yeah. Yeah, King Fowley, he's been on, and he's coming back on in a few weeks. We're actually going to be discussing Hammer films, and with King. Yeah, he's a larger than life personality, that's for sure. Yeah.
He's a great guy. I love hanging out with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like he'd just be, you'd never know what would happen hanging out with that guy. He just seems like
yeah. Yeah, he had nothing
anything's
but
possible.
great things to say about you too. He's like, oh yeah, Mark's a great guy. I'm like, yeah, we were just talking, so that's very cool. Okay. What is your most Spinal Tap like moment that you've ever had on tour?
Well, we were on tour with Gamma Ray, and we were in the eastern part of Germany, and we were playing this huge, I think they translated to a multicultural building. So it was really a giant building that had everything in it. It had several auditoriums, it had a gymnasium, it had some classrooms and some meeting halls. And we got lost. We knew where we were playing, and then we're wandering around looking for a restroom, or we're looking. A lot of gigs, you have to sort of try to find your own dressing room, just try to find a space. And there's plenty of space in this building. So we're looking around, and we got lost. We didn't know what floor we were playing on. And we found somebody working in there, and he's trying to help us find it. And he doesn't speak any English. Yeah, we must have wandered around for 45 minutes till we finally found where we're supposed to play.
Yeah, that's very Spinal Tap.
You almost want to say hello, Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland.
That's right.
Oh, we play. Our singer said that when we were playing in Cincinnati once, and
that probably didn't go over very well.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah,
yeah.
We have that lovely in-state rivalry. It's just one of those things. I think the rivalry between Cleveland and Cincinnati is not nearly as bad as Cleveland and Pittsburgh, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he said thank you, Cleveland, after one of the songs. I just stared at him. Come on.
Oh man.
Yeah, write the name. It's there on the amp, man, on the monitor. Cincinnati. Okay, Mark. What was the best show you ever played, and what made it your best show?
Let me think. Best show. Probably the first time we headlined Keep It True. I would say that was just a jam-packed crowd. Everybody at the band, we were so well rehearsed. We had flew in a couple days before, so we were sleeping well, well rehearsed, relaxed. Crowd, everybody singing along to all the songs. That was absolutely incredible.
Nice.
And that's a great promoter too. Oliver over there. He knows how to take care of bands, and the whole thing was great.
That's fantastic. I knowing from what we've learned from talking with a lot of people like yourself, is you don't often get good rest on the road. You're usually tired and often get sick, and you kind of have to play through all these things. So that has to make a huge difference.
Yeah, our tour right before COVID was God, it was a lot of dates. It was from London all the way across Europe and ending in Sweden Rock with Kiss and ZZ Top. And a lot of those gigs, I think at least 6 or 7 of those gigs were off stage. And then we'd have a 5 a.m. airport call. Ooh. And that's brutal because that's going through security, that's checking things in, and you haven't slept, and then you got to catch a flight, and then you got to get picked up at the airport and check into another hotel. Yeah, that was brutal. Gigs were great though. Yeah, I think we had I think we had sellouts 60% of the gigs. I mean, those are a lot of fun. We the first gig in London, we did Foggy Dew, and I'm halfway through the song and I realized, oh my God, we can't play an Irish rebel song in London. Oh my God. And then we finished the set, and some big guy comes up to me. Hey, you played an Irish rebel song in London. And I said, I know. And then he gives me a big hug. You got balls, mate.
And everything went right with the world.
Crisis averted.
Nice. Nice. We're not going to take you out on the pitch and try to put you in between the posts. Nice. Mark, I'd like to ask you some hypothetical situations.
Sure.
We had done a few of these in our last show, but I was careful to not repeat anything we asked you from our last show. Okay. Speaking of festivals and touring, you are creating a one-day festival. What 5 bands do you want to play, and who's headlining?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would have Accept headline because I've seen their headline set in Europe and it's phenomenal. Most people in America have seen Accept, on the smaller stages in America, and it's fun and it's still great. I mean, I love Accept, but Accept's full-on headlining set, the staging and everything is incredible. And I think every metal fan should see that. So I absolutely would have Accept headline. I would have Sabaton play, even though in the real world, Sabaton would probably headline over Accept anywhere. I mean, Sabaton is huge. And the reason I'd have Sabaton, I've seen them twice and they put on a very good show, but they're drawing in a younger crowd of metal fans, which is great. I mean, to have. So I think for a younger crowd to see bands like Accept would be great. It would sort of be a different experience and everything. So I'd bring in Sabaton. I'd still have Accept headlining, even though everybody's going to say, well, it's not going to work that way. This is my fantasy.
This is your festival. That's right. That's right.
Of course, I would have, I'd have to have Jag Panzer play, and I wouldn't care where we played on the bill. It would just be fun to play. I would have Witchfind play. I saw them play at Sweden Rock, and it was everything I imagined a new wave of British heavy metal show would be. I mean, it was just so cool and so much energy, and they're just dripping with sweat by the end of the night. It was a great show. I got off stage from us and just hurry up and got dressed, and I went and waited, 40 minutes at the front just so I could have front row for Witchfind, and it was completely worth it. So I would have Witchfind. Let's see, and we have to have one more band. I'd probably have Witch Hazel from the UK. I mean, that last album is phenomenal, and not a lot of people have heard of them.
I have not.
No, me neither.
We got to add it to the list, Dreadbull.
Yeah, I got to write that down.
Yeah, Witch Hazel. Nice.
Hazel, interesting. What are they? What are they like?
It's pretty melodic. It's kind of the new wave of British heavy metal. Okay. And I hope the name is right. I'm terrible with band names. I mean, you would think that I would like to say I'm good at it, but I'm not. I just get a playlist of music and just play music all day. But I think it's Witch Hazel.
Well, we'll look for it.
Yeah, I'm looking them up right now. So
yeah, we're always into new music. We're always looking to find something new, to listen to.
Some great album art. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did I get the name right?
You did. Witch Hazel. Yeah, that's exactly.
From the UK.
Mm-hmm. Nice. We'll have to invite them on next year.
Formed in 2007.
They're incredible.
Excellent. Okay, if you could be any superhero for 24 hours, who would you be? And what would you do with your day of power?
Oh, that would be good. Let me think. Superhero. Well, I think I would be Aquaman, and I would just explore. The ocean is such an unknown. I mean, I love the ocean anyway. I mean, I love it. I try to go to the ocean as much as possible and jump in it. And yeah, I think I would be Aquaman and just explore. God, that's probably a terrible answer because I'm not saving humanity or anything. I would just really want to see everything.
Nice.
That's an interesting answer. I'd be too scared. I hate deep water. It scares me. So.
With Aquaman,
I'd
though,
just be Aquaman. I'd just be wading out into the shallows and stay there.
Yeah, we both have a phobia of the deep, dark water. There's something
yeah.
big down there could eat us. There's something large.
Exactly.
But as Aquaman, though, you'd have control over the creatures.
Well, that's true. I still would be too scary.
Okay.
I'd still be too scared.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like to think of myself as being scared of water, and I'm a certified scuba diver and I'm a good swimmer, but my last trip into the ocean, I'm, snorkeling over these reefs and it's about 60 feet deep. And then I could see over the reef wall to about 400 feet deep. And I just couldn't get myself to go over there.
Yeah, anything could come up out of those murky depths. I've seen too many YouTube videos lately too of people, of a shark coming out. Somebody dives in off a cliff, and then that, I don't know if they're real or not, but it's scary anyway. And while they're underwater, a shark comes out.
Yeah, and you're limited with your senses. There's nothing under your ground. You're completely vulnerable.
It's that empty place for your imagination to fill in the gaps.
And as a kid who always wore glasses as a kid, going underwater was terrifying because you couldn't see. I always get really confused as to what way was up. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to drown. So yeah, no, I get it. Okay, Aquaman, that's cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I got glasses when I was 9, and I had terrible vision. Yeah, and that was terrible going underwater and couldn't see anything. And so yeah, right when they offered radiokeratotomy in our town, which was not the laser back then, they cut your eye with a blade. I said, sign me up. So I was one of the first people around here to get the old school cut your eye open with a knife, and I've had great vision since.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Excellent.
Speaking of phobias, do you have any that you'd be willing to share? I don't think we've ever asked a guest if they have any phobias.
Not for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not a big snake fan, even though I run into rattlesnakes occasionally. Yeah, and it's always very startling when I see one. Yeah, probably snakes. I'm okay with sharks. I've been in the water with sharks. That's okay. Run into bears quite a bit, and I'm careful around them, but I'm not. The bears don't scare me a whole lot. Yeah, probably snakes.
Yeah, that's maybe on my top 2 ways of not to die is to be eaten by some predatory animal. I
didn't know that.
Oh my God, that idea just scares the shit out of me.
Like
a bear or something. Get mauled by a bear and then it just starts chowing down. You might not even be dead yet, and it's
right. It just keeps on eating.
Start digging in.
Yeah.
Angry crowds freak me out. I mean, protests that start. I've been in Europe in places where they're having protests that start getting a little heated, and yeah, that I'm a little apprehensive around that. So I sort of keep a distance from that.
That's the self-preservation there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, last hypothetical. If you could cover an entire album and play it live, which album would it be?
Oh, see, I don't even have to think about that one. That would be Number of the Beast. That would be
nice.
That's something I think at one point we almost did cover the whole record. I mean, we just used to have fun at practice. Just we went for a year and a half of never missing a day of practice. I mean, Christmas Day every day, practice every day for hours, and that was around just a little bit. Number of the Beast had been out a couple years, and yeah, you'd get a little stir crazy, after a couple hours of your own song. And yeah, there was a time where we could play everything off of Number of the Beast fairly well. I mean, we had all the solos, note for note. Harry does Dickinson pretty well. So yeah, that would be a lot of fun, and that would be a nice nostalgia for me to play everything from Number of the Beast again.
Nice. That would be a fun album to cover.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question along those lines. So Dream Theater did that. They covered the entirety of Number the Beast in one of their live tours years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they kind of changed up Gangland. They turned it into a sort of
swing.
this jazzy sort of piece.
Oh.
Is there any song on that album that you would kind of remix a little bit or remake into more of
Different
into a
genre?
different style? You know, is there anything
Yeah,
you would change?
I mean, that's pretty cool what Dream Theater did. I could never bring myself to change anything on an Iron Maiden song. I just, well, there's actually a few records. We used to play a lot of the songs off the Angel Witch debut album, and we'd play Angel Witch and Atlantis and White Witch. And yeah, we didn't change any of those notes. I don't know. I don't think I'm creative enough to make a change to Iron Maiden.
Maybe that's just too sacred, that music. It's
Yeah.
too sacred to change.
We'll be happy to send you a copy of that if you'd like it, Mark. We'll be
I
happy
think
to.
our bass player has a copy of that. I remember him telling me about some of the Dream
Yeah.
Theater.
Yeah, they used to if they played a second night in one venue, they would on the second night as an encore they would do an entire album cover. You know, they did Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, they did Maiden. They did they do Master of Puppets? Yeah,
Mhm,
pretty
yep,
sure Master
yep,
of Puppets.
Yep, Master Puppets.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah,
crazy like that. So.
I've never played a Metallica cover tune, which is really odd.
Oh wow.
Even though I was the huge fan of Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets. I actually really love the Black Album as well. I know a lot of people don't like when I say that, but I do love that album. And yeah, I've never covered a Metallica song. Never even played one of them. I can, play some few Metallica riffs just from just listening to it and playing it. But yeah, never really learned a Metallica song.
If you could pick one, which one would you play?
Oh, Ride the Lightning, probably. That riff is killer.
Yeah. Yeah, that is.
Nice. Okay, Mark. Who are some of your favorite writers? Or if you want to talk about some of your favorite books.
Oh, Clive Barker, absolutely. I like Gillian Flynn, or is it? I don't know if it's Gillian or Gillian. Oh, it actually might be Gillian Flynn. We had that song in her movie Dark Places, so I read that book when we got hired on for the movie, and then I read Gone Girl, and she's a really good mystery writer, so I like her writing. Like Lovecraft. Yeah, probably Clive Barker though. I'm not a big Anne Rice guy. I read a couple of her books, didn't really click. Not a big Stephen King guy either, which I argue a lot with some of my bandmates who love Stephen King, but I don't know, just couldn't connect to it.
Yeah. I'm not a Rice fan either. So I get that.
I could get into a Jag Panzer H.P. Lovecraft concept sort of album. That'd be kind of cool. There's do that next.
Harry, do that next. Yeah.
Harry's middle name starts with P, so yeah, for years we used to call him HP.
HP.
Oh, nice.
That's
nice,
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go. What is your drink of choice?
Oh, that's a funny story. I like Lindemans Creek, the Belgian beer made from fresh fruit. It's ridiculous.
like a Lambois, or was it fruit? Was it Lambic? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it's
had that.
the Lambic. I mean, it is
I
different.
love Belgian beer. Oh man.
Lindemans Creek is the cherry version. There's Lindemans Peach. There's Lindemans Creek. There's Lindemans Framboise. Yeah, there's hundreds of lambics made around the world, but none are like Lindemans. I mean, Lindemans taste phenomenal. We were on tour once, and they were having a tasting event, and I had it on my calendar. I'm like, all right, Lindemans. And the day came, and I called a taxi, and he said, "You're not dressed for that." It was a black tie affair. And he called the brewery, and they said, "Yeah, it would be really cool to have a touring musician here, really, but it really is a black tie event." So,
wow,
that was a little sad. But on this 2019 tour, we were in, I forget where we were at. I mean, you would think it would have been Belgium, but it might have been the Netherlands or Belgium. It was somewhere in Europe where you always get beer if you're the band. And the club owner said it was a great crowd, so it was packed. And he said, "We got some beer for you guys. I hope you like it. It's a little obscure. It's Lindemans." And I thought my bandmates were playing a joke on me. I said, "Come on," because in the U.S. Lindemans is like $8 a bottle. No one's giving it to a band. But yeah, we had all the Lindemans we could drink. I was in heaven.
Nice.
So then I thought, my bandmates aren't going to drink it, so I'm going to have this whole thing to myself. But I made the mistake of talking the guys into it. Come on, try it. And so, yeah, they drank the rest.
Oh,
I ended up only getting 3.
Oh.
lesson learned.
Yeah. Note to self: keep mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we used to have beer tastings
Yeah.
at our house, and we had the was it the framboise? Is
Yeah.
that yeah, we've had
That's
that,
the
and
raspberry.
yeah, it is delicious. Quite tasty. Okay.
You ever see that old series? I don't think it's been re-released digitally, called The Beer Hunter.
No.
It was a gentleman named Michael Jackson, not the One Glove singer, different Michael Jackson, British beer expert. And he would go to these different breweries around the world and go to local pubs around the brewery. It was a really well done documentary, and it's called The Beer Hunter. It was a BBC series, and there was about 12 episodes. It was incredible.
That would make me thirsty to try all those beers. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you watch a show like that, you want to try every one of those beers.
Yeah.
And it was just such a well done documentary. The guy knew beer like the back of his hand and just asked the most interesting questions. It was great.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Beer
It's
Hunter.
probably on YouTube, The Beer Hunter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely look for it.
Jotting that down too.
My wife's sister's ex-boyfriend used to, well, he's a beer maker, and he used to make beer, and would bring gallons of it, and he had small kegs, and bring growlers and things, and he'd find these older recipes. He had one that was supposedly from Benjamin Franklin, like the beer that he used to make, and oh my gosh, it was delicious.
Was that the Imperial Stout?
No, it was a different one, but it was I forget what, but it was a real heavy, kind of slightly sweet. It was a winter beer for sure. It was a heavier beer, much more a thicker mouthfeel, but it was deep notes of molasses and things like that. Oh man, it was remarkable. But his Imperial Stout was amazing too. Yeah, I was really sad when they no longer were together, because I thought, well, we're never going to get this beer again.
Goes our beer connection.
Here goes our beer connection.
Yeah, we have some great local breweries here. The water's fantastic here in Colorado, so we've got there's about 4 or 5 great breweries just in my town with these great brew pubs. I'll go there and sit. And yeah, there's not a shortage of great beer here in Colorado Springs at all.
Yeah, the Cleveland area has a pretty good microbrewery scene too. So
yeah, you have that one brewery in Cleveland that just did really well at the Great American Beer Fest here.
Probably Great Lakes.
No, that's not it. If I heard the name, I would remember. Does it have
Fatheads?
Yes, Fathead. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
it's just at Fatheads about a week or about 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yeah,
for dinner.
Yeah, they have a good circulating selection depending on the season. I always like to get it from the tap if I can. Draft beer is so much better.
Fatheads is where I got my trooper beer.
In fact, I have a friend who's heavily into beer, and he writes places I need to have a beer when I go on tour, and that's his pick for Cleveland.
Nice. Oh yeah, and you want some of the fries. You got to get the smoked wings. And I'm sure they have pizza, but you want to get the smokehouse wings. They're mammoth, and
everything
at Fatheads is delicious. Yeah. It's a great place.
If they have pizza at all, I have to get that. I mean, that drives my bandmates crazy.
They like what you like.
Pizza by Robert is the pizza that I was going to suggest. It's in Westlake. It's a few miles from Cleveland, but we'll talk when you come to tour. I'll bring it to you when we go see you.
So. We were on tour once, and I was promised a pizza. And we get there for the show, and ticket sales are great. And the promoter says, I know I promised pizza, but I'm taking you guys out for a 7-course meal. And the other bandmates are going, yeah, I'm going like hell.
I want my pizza, damn it.
And they thought I was joking until some of my bandmates pulled the promoter aside and said, yeah, you're going to have to get Mark a pizza. And then there was a whole argument. Come on, this is a 7-course meal. And I said, look, I appreciate you did that. And the other guys like it, but I really going to hold you to that pizza promise.
Nice.
I
Hey,
love that.
yeah, that's great, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, all this food talk, we're going to lead you to our last game that we're going to play tonight.
Okay.
This is called Blast Beats. It's a new game. Well,
Okay.
relatively since you had been on. I want to ask you a series of questions. A lot of them are multiple choice or short answer, and I just want you to give me the answer as quick as possible.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Ketchup on hot dogs, yes or no?
No.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
Paperback or Kindle?
Kindle.
Favorite streaming service?
Netflix.
PC or Apple?
Apple.
Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Avengers or Justice League?
Avengers.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Dracula or Frankenstein?
Dracula.
Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster?
Bigfoot, or as they call him in Europe, Big Meter.
Yeah, or Sasquatch. How do you like your steak cooked?
So it's like black leather.
There you go.
I'm totally serious. I very, very, very well done. So it's completely dry, and then I soak it in, however you pronounce that sauce that starts with a W.
Worcestershire?
Yeah, I soak it in Worcestershire, and love it. Like a piece of leather that tastes like Worcestershire.
Nice. It's almost like beef jerky at that time.
It is.
Yeah,
It's like a hot, warm beef jerky.
Fantastic. Okay, favorite movie snack?
Popcorn.
Favorite sport?
Football.
Favorite subject in school?
Computers.
Least favorite subject in school?
English.
Favorite board game?
Game of life.
Spielberg?
No, Masterpiece. I got to back that up.
Masterpiece. Yeah, Masterpiece. Oh yeah,
Masterpiece,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spielberg or Tarantino?
Tarantino.
Your favorite season of the year?
Winter.
Your favorite Christmas gift?
Yeah, we were pretty poor growing up. Yeah, we didn't have any money, but my parents got me a used beat up pinball machine from the pawn shop. That was an incredible.
Pinball's
Cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, your first crush?
Well, I was 5 or 6. My best friend was Diane, and we used to listen to Disney records together.
Nice. There you go. Can you feel the love tonight? Yeah.
First celebrity crush was what is her name on the Bugaloos?
Oh yeah, the singer.
Joy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's funny
Yeah.
because that was my next question. Your celebrity crush. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was my first one. Was Joy from the Bugaloos, and I showed her to my girlfriend Marie, and she says, "Well, if you look at her face," and Marie blocked out her hair, and she said she looks like Britney Spears, and she actually does look like a brunette Britney Spears.
Huh.
Wow, there it is.
Wow.
I remember the Bugaloos. I remember hearing that theme song in my head right now. Okay, your favorite line from This Is Spinal Tap?
Oh, go ahead, kick my ass from Artie Fupkin.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we've had record company people drop the ball many times on many things, and none of them have ever said that. They always deflect blame.
Yeah, no one wants to take it.
Wrong information, or I didn't know this. In fact, none of them I really respect that Artie owned up to. nobody showing up at the in-store.
Well,
Massive respect, and I have never seen that in the music business. But yeah, that was a great.
well, you weren't on Palmer Records. I guess that's it. Okay.
Yeah, Polymore, they hold parties for their bands.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Never.
Yeah. Okay. The last beat question: the best concert you've ever attended?
Oh, absolutely, Kicks. And I'm not a Kicks fan. I didn't want to go. I went with I'm not going to drop a name. It is a much more 50 levels higher in fame musician than myself. I was spending time with him, and his sister had tickets for Kicks, and I did not like Kicks. I said, nah, okay, but it was something to do. Oh my God, they were phenomenal live. I mean, they were every single person in Kicks that night. If you put him in any other band, would have been the best guy on stage. I mean, everybody. They opened the show. The singer had the microphone. He had a sparkler on it, and it was red, so it looked like a stick of dynamite. And they all leaped in the air, and all you saw was the sparkler and then a strobe light, and then they landed on a power cord, and they were dripping sweat 2 songs in, and they were just giving 100%, 10% nonstop the whole gig. It was phenomenal.
That's the way to win a fan. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen great gigs since, but nothing like Kicks in a small club. That's how you put on a live show. Raven is a very, very close second. Raven always puts on a great gig.
Yeah, they're getting ready to go on a big tour in Europe, or in the States, right? So yeah, Raven. Okay, just a couple more questions, Mark, for tonight. Okay. Do you have any hidden talents? And if so, tell us about it.
Oh, boy, that's a good one. I'm okay at art. I'm probably, yeah, I'm okay at art. I'm really good at, boy, that's so hard to say. It's against my personality to
boast.
I'm known to be a very, very good software developer, like really, really good at it. I get the most difficult projects always and complete them. I've done a children's book, illustrated one for the Colorado Rockies baseball team.
Nice.
So I was told my work on that was good. Done some photography work. Did a big billboard for a anti-domestic violence program, and they picked my artwork for a billboard, so that was up for a while. I don't know. I mean, everything. Yeah, it is really hard for me to talk about because everything I do, I know somebody that does it better. So I can't really say, oh, I'm great at this, and my guitar playing is sort of average because I play with guys that are world class. So my songwriting, I mean, I think it's very good. I think I'm happy with it. I think it's I think I do a lot of things at a barely professional level, but yeah, I don't know about hidden talents. That's a tough one.
Okay. Well, you kind of, it may have even answered the last question I was going to ask you, was what's something that almost no one knows about you? And you kind of told us like 60 things that we didn't know
there's
about.
multiples there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting.
Yeah, most people don't know how much I love Pixar films. I mean, I love them. I ordered a videotape of the Pixar shorts in the 80s, back way before Toy Story. And, it was Red's Dream, Luxo Jr. These were just, computer graphics were in its infancy. So these companies would just do these little 2 and 3 minute shorts. So I was fascinated by that back then, that people could do stories and artwork on computers. That just blew my mind. So I was heavily into that. So yeah, I became a giant fan of Pixar films. I love Pixar movies. So yeah, I will go out of my way. And a lot of people are like, tell me, well, that's really weird. Those are kids' films. And I said, no, they're really clever and they're really well done. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, they have so much depth. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not just. I mean, it's like watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I mean, the kids are going to appreciate it at one level, the adults are going to appreciate it at another. And the slapstick humor is great for the kids, but the storyline is really it's earnest and the characters you care about. And I don't care. I mean, hey, I found myself crying at the end of Toy Story 3 and 4.
Absolutely.
And because like I don't want Andy to grow up. I don't want his toys to feel abandoned. I was like, wait a minute, no. So I get it. You fall in love with these characters. So they do a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, that's where they're smart about it. Like give the parents that take the kids to these movies something to enjoy too, and that then
Mhm.
everybody's there having a good time. That's a win for everybody.
Hmm.
I guess the other thing that people don't know about me is I'm a total geek for art history. I mean, give me a Monet exhibit, or if I can see Da Vinci's works, or anything like a Rembrandt or Diego Velázquez or anybody. I'm just a complete geek for art history.
Wow.
Nice. I remember
Veritable
going.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, when I was in, I must have been in grad school. There was the Toledo Museum of Art had a Monet exhibit.
Oh, nice.
And they does water lilies and all these other. I mean, it's the first time I had ever seen them live because I'd seen them in the books, my art history books when I was in school. But to see them live and see how big some of these paintings were, it was just amazing. And I know the Cleveland Museum of Art just had a big thing this past summer called the Van Gogh Immersive Experience, where they were showing his paintings on huge screens. But it was not just pictures, but it was like entire rooms were consumed with the painting, like wrapped around the walls. And
Wow.
Yeah, I
it's
saw an ad
larger
for
than
that.
larger than life, and you just kind of feel like you're just walking into the painting. You're just part of this colossal experience, and that was quite amazing too.
Oh, and you can go down about 10 different rabbit holes and hear arguments from all around the world about how you even say Van Gogh's name. It is believed it is most certainly not Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, right?
Van Gogh, and there's arguments on how you pronounce that. And what the artwork fascinates me, but what really fascinates me and motivates me is so many artists did not find success during their lifetime. I mean, we look at them now as, wow, these guys are all, famous, including, people like Van Gogh had many struggles during their lifetime to get noticed. So that a lot of times that is an inspiration for me in music to always just keep going. And, financial rewards right now that's not the be all end all of whether your music has lasting quality.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we want something to be around and to be substantial, and that makes perfect sense too.
Yeah.
As an artist, you want people to appreciate your art.
Yeah, because I always have to remind people that Ample Destruction was not well received out of the gate. And everybody's like, what? So I have to break out the Metal Forces review. I said, this is the biggest magazine in the world back then. And they ranked Ample Destruction 15th. And they said, well, 15th for the year is pretty good. No, 15th for the month.
Oh, wow.
And, I have no hard feelings about that. I mean, you review, you get what you get, but that was pretty much, and subsequently, because of that review, I could not give Ample away on a license because we were only signed for the US. So I tried to license into European labels and they all turned me down and they all cited that review. And I told them, well, use your own ears, don't listen to one magazine.
Yeah.
And then I offered to give them the record for free. Here, take this record for free. But it is certainly not free anymore. It is appreciated now, which I very much enjoy. But we've had that happen to several of our other records where it sort of takes a while to catch on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you see that movement and tastes change. And what's popular or hot at the time is going to be changing. But good music's going to outlast any fad.
Yeah, there's always a flavor of the month, and we are never it because I never care about chasing that. But when I say flavor of the month, there are bands that I would call flavor of the month that are still very good. They just happen to hit the pulse of the music scene at the moment. But when Ample came out, it was mentioned in the Metal Forces review that this is not thrash because thrash was certainly the giant flavor of the month then. And this was not it. So it was sort of discarded as being lesser. And I think current flavor of the month, and I really love Sabaton, but that sound, Sabaton and Powerwolf, that is currently flavor of the month. And I absolutely mean no disrespect by that, but that is what's selling now. Ghost is certainly a flavor of the month, and I like Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like Ghost. I like the imagery. I like the look of it. I just, and I've only heard maybe half a dozen songs. I just can't get it. I can't get into it. I want to, but just it's just, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound as heavy as I want it to be. I guess I wanted a particular sound with the makeup and the looks.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just not getting it from them.
I find it, I hear comparisons of them to Blue Oyster Cult, and I personally completely agree with that. I think they actually sound a lot like Blue Oyster Cult, especially the vocals don't have a lot of dynamics, and a lot of people take that as a negative comment, which it is not at all. I mean, it's the vocals are very smooth, and Blue Oyster Cult hit the notes flawlessly and had wonderful smooth vocal lines, like "Don't Fear the Reaper" is a great example. It's the opposite of a Dio vocal line, where there's a growl and a scream. It's all very smooth, and that's Ghost. It's very smooth. A lot of the melody lines and changes are similar to what Blue Oyster Cult did. So yeah, and I as a classic Blue Oyster Cult fan, I hear a lot of that similar style in Ghost.
I'll have to
Yeah, I
give
can
them
see
another
that now that
try.
you mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give them a try because I want to like them. I do. I love
Yeah,
the
like their
whole
live
makeup.
shows are really interesting,
Yeah.
with everybody with the masks and stuff. I think they put on a really cool show. And yeah, I'm with you though. Like, I want it to be a little bit heavier. Like, I'm waiting for some heavier riffs to happen.
Yeah, I guess
Oh yeah,
They
I'm wanting
usually
like the
don't.
black metal, the King Diamond,
Right.
like
It's
Merciful
just the
Fate.
metalhead in us that takes over.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, come on, bring it.
Yeah,
I don't find it heavy at all. I mean, Ghost has
not.
some occasional heavy riff, but it's toned way down by the vocal line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if it were, obviously they're doing wonderful in their career, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't. So
huge.
I'm not making any suggestions or anything. I wouldn't be so bold, but I personally don't consider them heavy metal. To me, they're a hard rock band.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mark, I want to thank you for spending time with us again tonight, and for more importantly, for being such a good friend of the show, and for just keeping us in the loop, and for your texts and messages and the time that we get to talk back and forth. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It just means a lot to us that you would want to spend time with us.
Well, let me thank you guys in return. You guys do what the tape traders did in the early 80s. You guys keep this underground going, and you're giving up a lot of your own time, and you're working hard, and it's just really beneficial to everybody. You're making the underground go.
Oh, that's high praise. We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're up over 100 subscribers now, so that's pretty good. But we know, we get good feedback. I don't know how many people are listening. We do really well on the Unsane Radio. We put it out in the other streams, but we're just happy doing what we get to do. And spending the last 90 minutes hanging out with you is just, it's just beyond anything we could have imagined. So
yeah, it was cool. But thanks for letting me put your ad in the comic. That was
we're letting you. Yes. Well, you're welcome. No, but thank you for asking. It means so much to us, and we're happy to that you would think enough of our show to want to put us in your comic book. We are eternally grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, I had about I think I picked about 20 people and shows and 20 people in the underground metal scene that I thought this would be cool to ask. And then I wrote a little computer program to do a random shuffle. And then I started asking people from the top of the list down.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. Well, we're lucky and honored.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's so very, very cool.
I use that same list, and that's who I started sending the musical cards out to.
Yeah, well, we've got them all here. We're really thrilled. Now I'm going to be adding it to the wall behind me. We're going to be adding some things.
Great
This is great. We are
memorabilia.
real super excited for the album when it comes out. When you find out, when you decide who the label's going to be, would you just send us a note or drop by and say, hey, we're on this label so we can help promote it?
Yeah, I hope they allow me to say who it is right away. I hope so. I'm very, very pleased with what I think the choice is. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you would think I would know these things, but I am. There's certain aspects of the business that I'm out of the loop on, and that is one of them. And there's certain aspects where I'm very much drive it. I drive the creative side, and I'm not so much involved with the business side.
Well, yeah, this is awesome. This interview's got me so excited for this album. So yeah,
It's a good record. I'm
yeah.
I think people are gonna like it. I mean, I'm trying to anticipate what. Yeah, some people will slam it because they'll think the story's a little bit goofy, but oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted a story that reminded me of like the Ray Harryhausen movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, Ray was just the special effects guy, but I know them as, you know, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Jason the Argonauts, Valley of Guanji. I know them as Ray Harryhausen films.
Right. They have a look. Right. And no matter how old you are when you watch it, you feel like the kid you were when you first saw it.
Yeah. So this album concept's got a couple sets of monsters in it. It's got some cool adventure, like scaling down an icy, dilapidated building, and while these creatures are flying after you, and you got a flamethrower, and
That's our kind of stuff right there,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I'll invite you to our D&D games
Right.
from now. Yeah. If you want to partake in that. So,
I love playing D&D. And,
well,
I got mercilessly teased by some of my bandmates who absolutely find that to be the geekiest thing possible.
Dude,
well, in the coolest
lived
way.
it.
Yeah,
we lived it
it
all through high school, man. We
and look
played
how
so
cool
much
we
D&D.
all are. Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, seriously, if you ever want to game with us, let me know. We will certainly.
Okay.
We'll do it like via Zoom. So.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, if you need a set of dice, we got you. We got you covered. So, all right, we're gonna do our commercial and we're gonna get out of here.
Okay, cool.
So, all right, you can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's where we're at. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. And we're now on Roku, Hotel Metal Jam. If you know someone who would like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Dreadbull.
And Mark Briody. And so you've been watching and listening to, all right, Mark, bring up the horns.
Heavy metal.
Heavy
metal.
Trying to make sure I'm on camera.
Horror.
Yes.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.